teenage kid and I hung around the streets. I could see inside the mind of any girl that I wanted to meet. Waves try and move.
Yeah, we're going to take a seat there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, sorry. Hey, come on. Come on. Please. Come on. What are you doing that for?
When I signed on last time, I was pushed on the floor twice by a massive policeman. He looked like a gorilla. He looked like King Kong. He was King Kong's brother, and I was pushed on the pavement twice with violent force. And all I was doing was claiming my dole money.
I'm entitled to benefit. I've worked, I've paid national insurance contributions. So in their eyes, if I go to sign on, give my name and all that, I'm eligible. There's no doubt that I am eligible to claim money.
If we go into the cities and sign on Social Security, which is the only alternative offered, are we any less a scrounger signing on Social Security there than we are signing on Social Security here?
3 years ago and 4 years ago, lots of people used to, when they get the gyros, they'd come steaming out at the weekends with their backpacks on and come and see us, and they'd spend a week with us. And we used to have, there was calves and food stalls and beads, bangles, and a fernery of things on sale. The majority of people eked out a living. And there was very few people ever used to sign on in the summer. It's only since the police started policing us in this fashion, people don't come and see us anymore. So we have to sign on.
If they left alone the people that would like to eat with me and people like me, I would do all right. They'd never hear from me. They'd never hear from me. I'd never come in the news. They'd never know I existed. And that's quite how I like it.
If they really believed half that they print, they wouldn't come amongst us like they do. They wouldn't dare. But they know it's not true, so they'll come amongst us and they'll talk to people and they'll make all sorts of nice jottings down of what people have said and then go away and tell a load of lies.
We read in the newspapers, we're not liked, we're not wanted, we're shoved from here to there. But when I see the people that actually live in society, I don't see them against me. A gentleman came around this morning and he had a big Tupperware box of cakes, what they'd made. And he wanted to bring us, the good news, that not everybody around here was as bad as we were made out to be, and that we did have some friends. And that we weren't all devils, And they were really nice people. They came up and they wanted to share the gospel with us, and all this. It was really nice, because they felt like they wanted to share with us.
Because Joe Public has been helping us out with fuel, bits of food, assorted clothes. The response from the ordinary person out there, the true thinking and feeling person is amazing. It's strengthening our spirit, no end.
Certainly is, yeah.
Not many, yeah. Because people do care, and they do realise what's going off. A lot of people are saying, here you go, kiddo, take hold of that, and you keep going for it, and don't let them knock you down. And it's lovely stuff. People do care.
People say, oh, why don't we give them a plot of land? But it would be no good. It would soon become very uninhabitable to spend, a permanent time in one place. That's why we travel around, because we do respect the land. Because the land needs time to recover, to breathe, and there's other things that live on the land, there's creatures and insects and birds. We want to be a part of the environment, not separate from it.
When I was a kidder, the rivers and streams I used to go and play in were full of sticklebacks and bullheads and snails and an ephemery of marine life. Nowadays, you don't see that. But we're born into this society that treats the land in this fashion. Its ideas and philosophy on life is really out to lunch. They're taking spaceship Earth here, to the brink of destruction.
We talk about how we damage the land. Look at this nuclear accident in Chernobyl, the nuclear cloud. We had no say in that matter. And what do they say about us? We damage the land. What do? If we're on a site and the site gets wet when we leave, maybe it gets very muddy. Maybe the vehicles churn the land up a little bit. Maybe if we're on grassland, maybe when we leave there's a few scorched places where we've had fires. Things like this, small things.
We were living in the winter in one place and it was slightly dipped. It was the lowest part of Wales. And where we were particularly about, maybe 30 feet lower than everywhere else. It was pretty low, right? And when it rained severely, the middle road in our camp, right, there were puddles. And after 2 days' rain, those puddles were bright green. And there's children in our family, there's dogs, and not to mention ourselves. Those puddles were bright green. Where does that bright green colour come from? That bright green colour comes from chemical nitrogen things that they stick in the soil.
Wash down the hill.
And as soon as it rains, it washes out, man. And as soon as I step out my bus in the morning, I'm faced with a bright green bloody puddle. And they're telling me I'm poisoning the soil by going to the toilet once a day. Well, that's wrong, I only go to the toilet once a day. That green shit, man, it's all over the place. I don't know, I'm getting a bit emotional. I'm supposed to poison it. I only go once a day, I'm normal. You know what I mean? But that's crapping all over the soil 24 hours a day,
I don't know how people can say we're violent. There's no violence out here. The inner cities, that people are being violent all the time. You see it on the news constantly. And again, I think it's because people are so wound up. But out here, they're so relaxed. Nobody bothers to get violent.
Yes, you could walk through it and you wouldn't even think about being raped any time at night. Yeah. Your kids can run free all day and they wouldn't even think, you wouldn't have to think, unless sort of, say it was a really big festival, then I would be careful anyway.
It is a better society for women because there's lots of women living together. Lots of people living together. And I've got a child this age, her child's not that much different age. I know that if I want to go shopping, I can leave my child with her quite safely. She can leave her child with me. And there's just so many people who your child will be completely safe with, and they're still at home. They're still in their own environment. You don't have to send them off to schools and stuff like that.
Of course we have machetes and axes, because we need them to chop the wood for our fires. That's the part that people are never told. They just assume that we've got them as weapons. We're not violent unless we're provoked. And if someone came in and started smashing, say, your home, wouldn't you try to protect it?
If you go around here, you show me some violence,
You'll tell you what,
they can print what they like.
Go around here and try and pick a fight. Go on, and I'll lay a tenner on it. You'll come back and no one will touch you. Yeah, you try that anywhere else. That's your violence for you.
Do any of the children look hungry? Do any of the children look ill or unhealthy? Or, most important of all, do they look unhappy?
What have they got in London or any other way? They've got their O levels, got their A levels. They're still at work. They're still unemployed. They've done the what Mrs. Thatcher put down as a community service or whatever it is they do, with the trade, learn a trade way of working. They've done all that and they're still out of work. So what have they gained? They've gained nothing.
But did you go?
And they're still just as fed up. Of course, I went to school. I was in an orphanage.
Yeah, I went.
And the trouble with school, the trouble with our education system is that it isn't there for the furtherance of a child's mind. It's not there for the child to enrich its life. It's there for the society to have all
Make
the little
them, yeah.
workers and all the skills that it needs for the society to
Yeah.
run. So the schools are based on competition.
Well, they learn the 3 L's basically of life: light, love, and life. You'll find most children can read and write. Mine certainly can, yeah. But she hasn't been schooled in the last 7 years.
People outside would call that irresponsible, not sending the kids to school.
I call it very responsible, I do. You don't want them brainwashed by society into becoming what society wants them to. Let them be free-thinking people. Don't send them to school. Society destroys kids. I mean, school destroys kids.
It does. I mean, my 2 little daughters, they were gorgeous little things up until we sent them off to school for the first time. Within a fortnight of them being in school, they turned out to be right reptiles. Really, I mean, they were coming back and fighting among each other all the time. Before they'd actually gone to school, they were always getting on like this. And they come back with all this language and carry on that was really out to lunch. Now, I mean, that severely shocked me when that happened. I mean, that's just one little happening in my life. But that happened to me, and it really shocked me because I'd put myself out for quite a number of years to bring those children up in a better way, better than I'd been brought up anyway.
The percentage of people here that do socially unsavoury things is minute. It's minute compared to get this number of people anywhere else in the country. You'll have a vast number of perverts, weirdos, and perverts and weirdos. You'll have loads of them.
You've got to think of something original, the film crew. They've heard all of these jokes. Yeah, I know.
There's no such thing as a battered wife when a man's had a spliff too many. If he's had 1 spliff too many, he goes to bed early. He goes to sleep a couple of hours early. Yeah, he don't come home and batter the wife or the kids. And how many people do that on a bit of gob? Plenty of that out there. There's none of it going on around here.
Legalised poison, legalised drug abuse, basically.
Cannibalised legalism. But like they've got how many million housewives addicted on Valium, phenobarbital, Librium,
keep them quiet.
Junol, Mother's Little Helpers. The government are passing those things around. There's lorries shooting up down the motorways full of Valium and Mogadon and Junol every day to supply the nation's habits.
Otherwise,
there's no habits around here. There's a few people around here that like a spliff. I see people smoking cannabis on buses and trains, in pubs, on the streets, and in their homes, up and down the length and breadth of the country. What's so naughty about people doing it in the field?
People becoming violent with one another in the inner cities through drinking goes off the Richter scale compared to the people sitting around campfires smoking hashish. I mean,
there's no comparison.
There's no comparison. But the laws against such activities are outrageous.
As I can gather, the only way to get yourself out of a heroin habit is take yourself away from the source. Anybody comes here and they will not find a source of heroin. I have personally seen, it was about 3-4 years ago now, over what was apparently over £1,000 worth of heroin, and it did bring a tear to the man's eye, taken out of his pocket and thrown onto a fire. And that is the basic attitude across site.
Everybody makes a point of not allowing heroin onto the site.
That's about one of the only rules we've got, that is.
Yeah.
That's a very strict ban, that is. Because heroin's, what's brought a lot of the inner cities to the state they're in, and the people to the state that they're in there. We want to help these people. And, by banning the heroin, it's a good way of helping them, especially if they come here.
I mean, some of us feel we can be a release to the inner cities in this country.
I like people that aren't pressured. That I can go and be with people that aren't pressured by circumstance. I can go and be with them, I can give myself to them, and they give themselves back to me, and I can have a nice time. And we can help each other. But if I go in the city and I go and spend my time with someone in their house, in a lot of experiences, sort of, they're coming down here, there's the bills coming down there, and there's the responsibility from the schools coming down there, and there's somebody's unemployed, and that's coming down there, and you go to the houseman, they're down there looking up at you like this, and they're trying to spend the time of day, and they're just being crushed by their circumstances. But I can go out here, they're all poor, they haven't got 2 halfpennies to rub together, but if I go there, You know, I feel something. It's nice, and it don't cost nothing.
People are not afraid to die. They're frightened of living. That's what we find.
And all these people that live in society with their suits on, they're nice and smart, they've got £500 on their body. When they have to have a good time, how much does it cost them? Cost them £20, £30, £40. I can have a good time on this site, and it cost me threepence. One price, one cup of tea, and I'll have a really good time. I might even drink the tea, but I'll have a good laugh. You know, but it cost me threepence. Not at all. I'm as happy as a lark. I mean, you look at my face, you make your own mind up. Don't believe what I say. You make your own mind up. You know, you just look for yourself. You look around, you look at these faces. You see if they're unhappy or not unhappy. You look for yourself. I can get happy for threepence. One price, one cup of tea, and a bit of company. That's all I need. I don't need no heroin and all that. I don't need no 50 pints of beer.
It's understanding people need, not brutality, not uniforms of brutality, not laws of brutality. But people need genuine understanding.
If I meet you on the street, right, it's a narrow street like that, and you're there and I'm near, and I'll move to the side for you, and you could walk past. Is that too simple for you? I'm not interested in what I want, you know. It's what you want as well, isn't it? You know, if you can get what you want, and if I can get what I want, then we're both happy. And that's called harmony, isn't it? You know, if I get what I want, and I push you out of the way like that, you know, what's going to happen to me eventually? Hey?